This is the business of pop culture, where we explore the intersection of entertainment, media, and consumer engagement. So, Julia, we're talking about sports innovation again, I think, this week, but this time in the gaming world. Is that right?
It is, yeah. As many of you might know, FIFA and EA, the gaming studios relationships, has now ended, and FIFA are beginning to release their own games to get their own slice of the gaming market purely under their own income brackets. And the game that's just been released is called AI League, which was developed by the Web3 AI firm Altered State Machine. And it's a mobile game that's now available on Android, and they're currently working on an iOS version.
So, AI, everything is AI at the moment, obviously, but is this really AI? What's the AI element to this?
Isn't it just? Well, I do think that the, marketing it as AI is a bit juiced up here. From what I can tell, it's about as AI as any non-playable character. It is a 4-on-4 football game, and players basically act as the coach and owner of their own teams. And each AI footballer has their own unique strengths and weaknesses as virtual athletes. They are quite cartoonish to look, not unlike Fall Guy, Bean Guys, actually. And players can collect and trade these characters and then thus create their own team with their sort of favorite features, and then have matches against other players where they're mostly running on their own artificial intelligence. So these players are acting independently, but the human players can sort of interfere and provide their own input and like critical tactical moments. So it's a sort of mixed lean back, lean forward experience in social gaming on mobile.
It's like a kind of souped up AI version of Top Trumps in a way, which I guess is why, as far as I can tell, there's an NFT element to this as well, right?
Yeah, that's coming down the line. So Altered State Machine have told crypto media outlet Decrypt that they are going to also launch an NFT marketplace in relation to this. And as and when that launches, each of these little player characters are going to be minted as NFTs. I think we've all gone a bit lukewarm on these kind of activations among the cost of living crisis and also the quite prominent collapses in the crypto market in the recent months. And by first proving that it's fun to play, you can then kind of create demand for what will then become collectible and unique virtual goods.
So the hype has sort of died down, hasn't it? And everyone's got a bit cynical about it. But there are some new innovations, and obviously this FIFA game is tapping into that. So why do you think it's an interesting game from a pop cultural trends perspective?
First of all, it's a mobile game, which makes a lot of sense, really, because there's huge regions in the world that are mobile first, and some of esports' biggest fandoms are nations like those, like, for instance, Brazil, where the mobile game segment is projected to reach a value of $1.68 billion by the end of this year. And mobile is a growth market still for esports. So when a traditional sports organization like FIFA gets involved in this space in any way, shape, or form, that's interesting. Secondly, I do think the sort of AI angle, the AI player angle, or more like, gameplay on reels is really interesting. And as you had said earlier, it's kind of taking the top trumps of football. It's like a collectible card game. But in this case, the collectible cards, the little players just tend to kind of have a bit of a will of their own. It's less about being fully immersed in 10, 15-minute or hours-long live gaming session with a human opponent, and more about building the best deck, or in this case, team, and then competing in kind of snap decision little sessions. And so this mix of curator expertise and in-the-moment interaction with other players that I think is going to build really interesting dynamics there. And then because we are talking about athletes, even though they're virtual, I think it's also tapping into what we've been seeing in fantasy sports and betting. FIFA also debuted a partnership for a prediction game that was running alongside the 2022 FIFA World Cup in Qatar, where players could win digital and physical prizes. So it's really just feeding into this growth we've been seeing, and a report on that in our report, Future Sports Fandoms.
So, I mean, it's interesting from the perspective of, should this AI get more sophisticated, then there's the potential for these virtual players to become as sort of followed and gain fans, much like the real players. We're seeing in esports how esports has become such a huge spectator sport now. Perhaps there's a separate FIFA virtual league that can be developed out of this.
So reflecting actually on mobile games that are currently already really successful, like Marvel Snap, which is a collectible card game on mobile where people kind of stack their decks and then they have card game matches that take 5 minutes against human opponents. And I'm going to call these kind of games curated casual for the time being until the industry comes up with their own terms for the genre. And when you then throw in AI game characters, so living collectible cards, if you will, you're kind of blending active and spectator gaming. And that is a really interesting approach for building high engagement and long linger time in the casual gaming space.
Fantastic. Really interesting stuff. Thank you again, Julia, and I'll see you next week.